everybody. Welcome to Horror Movie Yearbook. I'm Tim.
I'm Willie.
That was a serious introduction because we are talking serious business.
This is not to be trifled with, Tim.
This is a movie that took a long time to make that we're talking about. Like
a
decade,
long time to make. An insanely long time to make.
Freddy versus Jason. Went through many scripts. You can read about those scripts in a great book called Slash of the Titans.
You recently read Slash of the Titans?
Yeah, I've read it a couple times. It's a very entertaining read. It's is it Dustin McNeil? They wrote like the Phantasm book, the Taking Shape, books. The Halloween books,
Taking Shape 1 and 2.
Yes, that are all about unused screenplays.
You've read all these books.
Yeah,
I've read the Taking Shape books.
The Taking Shapes. I can't remember now, but which one's called which, but some of them are about behind the scenes of Halloween, and then some of them are about unproduced Halloween screenplays.
I've read both, I think.
Yeah.
So
Slash of the Titans, though, is all about the unfilmed, unused.
That was their first big book, was Slash of the Titans.
It's screenplays for Freddy versus Jason, because this movie that we're about to talk about was in development for like 10 years. Right?
There's enough to write a book.
There
about movies that weren't made.
13?
I think it's 13, which is funny.
It is.
Do you have a favorite that's not the finished film? Honestly, for me, I remember reading all of them, and I went, the finished film was probably as good as we're going to get. Like, that was, like, realistically.
It's tough because they go through different variations.
Yes.
I think I still like, and I think it's the first one, is it Nightmare 13, where it ends with them fighting in hell in front of like Ted Bundy and Adolf Hitler.
Yes, with the devil and the big throne. That he's like watching them. Like, it's pretty sweet.
That is probably still my favorite one.
It was never gonna get made.
But then there are later versions of that script. I think where they introduce like Freddy is responsible for Jason's death at camp. Also, maybe molested him as a child.
They do too much of that stuff later on, where they try to like tie it, and it goes. I'm glad they did not go that route.
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to talk about all of this stuff here in a second. Mm-hmm. But first, we should mention the Midwest Game Nerds are back. The boys are back. Brian is back from another lavish vacation, I'm sure.
Love Brian. Just
as Brian's back. They're talking Remnant from the Ashes, Death Stranding, Divinity, Original Sin 2. I'm laughing because this sounds like a lot of the bands were about, like, they sound like band names of a lot of the bands we're going to talk about in the second half of our episode.
New metal band names just becoming video game names. Happy to hear that Brian's back. Happy to hear they're talking about these sweet, sick-sounding games that I'll never play.
Yeah. They're also, they released a bonus talking about Barbenheimer and Rob Thomas.
Yes, who has been featured heavily apparently in a movie that I probably won't ever see again, Barbie.
Oh, did you see it?
I won't ever see at all, I should say.
Oh, okay.
Didn't see it once. Again, is confusing. Once again, I will never see that thing. Like, I will never play Death Stranding. I'm not sad about this. It's fine. I've reached a point. I don't know how you're feeling as a parent, because you're a newer parent than myself.
Yeah.
But like you've been a parent now for a while. You're definitely, I think, like just from our conversations and stuff, I think you're kind of like you're in the groove now to where like there is no new normal as a parent, because it always changes and shifts. But like I think you like kind of get where you're at now. Like you seem comfortable with like
yeah.
But there's a growing pain for sure. Like I think anybody who says there's not is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like is doing something bizarre. But like you reach a point where you just accept like I probably won't play that game.
That is that's my Zelda story. Is like I was loving it. I got like 10 or 15 hours into it. I'm like, I'm never gonna finish this enough. Yeah,
and you're fine with that.
Yeah,
because it is what it is. Yeah,
I've accepted right now. When my child is awake, the only things I can watch on TV are sports and pro wrestling.
And at least you like those things. Yes.
Like when he's asleep, maybe we can fit in a show.
Yeah,
but it probably better be like a 30-minute show.
Yeah, keep it brief.
Let's not get greedy here.
Yeah, come on, hey, your time is not your time. Anyway, enough of our parenting madness.
We're gonna reminisce about a time.
We are a time before children. A time when we were basically children.
We're not going back. We're going to leave the time machine in the garage this week. It's been 20 years. God. Now,
oh my God. Wow.
20 years.
20 years.
Freddy versus Jason. 20 years, my God. And this is where we come to grips with our mortality, folks.
It's going to get really depressing here, I think. So it should be a celebration.
When I came up with this idea to, I'm like, we're going to do this whole retrospective, I was like really pumped. Like, we're going to do this whole retrospective. I'm going to remember where I was at in my life when I saw this movie, and I realized I can't remember anything from 20 years ago.
Tim, you mentioned this to me as well, where you're like, let's talk a little bit retrospective about like when we watched it, where we watched it. And I went, oh my God, it's gone. There's no.
So then here's what we're going to do. We're going to fish for memories. We're going to try to extract some of this information. Did you see this in the theater?
Yes.
Me too. Do you remember who you saw it with?
I think so.
I'm in the same boat. I think so. It wasn't my normal. I'm 99% sure it wasn't my normal crew that I would go see a movie with, or this type of movie with especially.
Okay.
I think it was a coworker who was just
because you were probably just working in the workforce essentially at this point.
Yeah, I was working at closest thing to wholesale.
Part-time job.
ABC Warehouse.
Yep, probably going to school.
This was after high school though.
Yeah, post-high school, probably you're taking classes probably.
Yeah, I was taking classes, so I would have went, I think, with a coworker, and to be honest with you, the coworker, now that I think about it, he may have been robo-tripping. Remember
I do.
I worked with him. He's a stock guy. I'm not going to name him.
I won't name the person I know who liked to robo trip, but they wore roller blades into a business that you and I used to. You know where I'm at? Cool.
So he said, I remember, he used to do this. We worked in stock for a little bit, and he used to come into back from lunch, and he'd be like, "Dude, I'm road trip." I'm like, "You're not helping me lift anything."
Yeah, you're gonna kill me. Thanks, bro.
But I remember he wanted to go see Freddy versus Jason, and it was probably because he was. Don't do this, folks. This is bad.
That's not a good idea.
No, we are not endorsing this. But when I've
never robo tripped. I don't want to.
No, so I think this may have been his main reason for we were hanging out at work, and he's like, "You want to go see this?"
Yeah, I'm gonna get ripped. And
so there you go. Do you remember? Was the person you were with? Or did they drink a lot of Robitussin to go?
No, I'm fairly certain. So, in my pre kind of high school, I'd say so I was in sophomore year of 02. 02 would have been my sophomore year. So before that, it was my dad. That was him and I were we saw the movies together.
Yeah,
he had the car. He drove. He liked horror movies. I liked horror movies. He liked movies in general. So we'd go see stuff together. Once mid high school started, then I would go see movies with my friends because somebody had a car. That was once 16 I think it was you could drive with a permit or whatever. So we would go see movies, and I'm fairly certain I went and saw this with my high school friends at the time.
Okay.
So who are some of which are still my friends. Kevin, Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin was there for sure. But what was funny about it was I was the horror guy. Not that Kevin and my friend Ben, my friend TJ, they all saw horror movies here and there, but I was they hadn't seen all the Friday the 13th I had. They hadn't seen all the Nightmare on Elm Street I had. But Freddy vs. Jason was kind of a phenomenon. You had to go see Freddy vs. Jason.
And I think that so similar,
like the big fight.
I think I was talking about it with someone at work because I was super pumped for it.
Of course.
And the dude was like, "Yeah, I want to go see that."
Yeah, let's go see him.
Yeah, yeah, let's go because the movie theater was right down the road from.
So why not?
Yeah,
yeah. Probably after a shift, you're like, "Let's go." So that was it for me. I saw it with those guys. I'm fairly certain, and everybody had a great time.
So you had a good crowd.
Yeah.
See, this is a movie that I think would benefit from watching with a good crowd that's going to laugh at the jokes.
It felt like watching a boxing match, or a wrestling show or an MMA show, like that the
final fight
stretch, that 20 minutes or whatever it is. It felt like being at a sporting event where you were the crowd was booing and cheering. It was insane. It was weird.
Do you remember who your theater was going for?
They were cheering for Jason, no question.
Jason is set up to be the fan favorite.
He's the face.
Yeah,
he's the good guy.
Yeah, he's set up to be the underdog in a lot of ways.
Freddy's definitely made to be the badder of the two bad guys.
The heel.
Which is funny because Freddy kills one dude in this movie.
Right.
Jason kills everybody, but Jason's still
Jason's a lovable lunk. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, he is. Like, you can't, I mean,
You can't stay mad at that face.
No, he's adorable. Look at him. But Freddy's just kind of a douche. You just want him to go away. Freddy's like the frat guy in like the college movie.
And now that's a good point though, because we're joke Freddy in this movie, which is weird because
he's not scary at all in this movie.
We had reached the bottom of the barrel with Freddy's dead with joke Freddy when he's like a witch at one point going like, "I'll get you, my pretties."
Horrific.
Yeah,
and not in the tradition.
We've got Nightmare retrospectives out there somewhere floating in the world, where we talk about our least favorite, and we both we hate Freddy's Dead, right?
It's bad.
Yeah, it's a bad movie.
Yeah,
but then like Craven came back to the franchise and released New Nightmare,
which is it doesn't age as well as I wished it had, but it's still. It makes Freddy scary again, which is
exactly
impressive because that's not easy to do.
Yes. And then now all of a sudden we revert back to Jokester Freddy in this one.
Yeah, and I think it's not like Freddy's Dead level, but it's not that far off. He's not turning into like the Wicked Witch of the West. Right. He's not turning into a video game Freddy or a Super Freddy, but it's closer.
He's like a stoner worm at one point, though.
That's right. It's like I would say it's like Nightmare 4.
Yeah.
Freddy.
Because he doesn't even have the edge of 3 in this one.
Dream Warriors that's Freddy. Gone.
Because Dream Warriors, the big sin in that one is it introduces Jokey Freddy, but he's still like scary Freddy.
When push comes to shove, he's still scary and he'll kill you. Yeah,
and there's a menace to his jokes too. A lot of the time,
the punchline is him killing you.
Right.
Whereas like in the later sequels, it's like there's like 4 punchlines and then he kills you, but you're like already like, can you just kill me? Please?
Yeah, but I was gonna say,
please, for the love of God, kill me. Like
by the time he kills
you're begging.
You're like, shut up, you hack comedian.
Like either kill me or like let's move on. Yeah.
At least Jason does not mess around with that.
He doesn't talk, so
he will just kill you.
Is Jason the final slasher to not say a word? I think he's it. Michael Myers is now spoken in Rob Zombie's films. He has. Technically, he has spoken. Yeah. I think Leatherface has said something in one of those movies at some point.
Yeah, he's like at least grunted something.
Yeah, but Jason's he's consistent.
Of the major ones, I think you are right. Yeah, Ghostface never shuts up.
Yeah, but he doesn't count. He's not a silent killer.
What about, are we counting Death from Final Destination?
Not a character. And arguably, Tony Todd could be
that's a good point.
Manifestation of.
But Freddy is our most annoying at times.
Oh God, shut the fuck up, dude.
But anyways,
I love Robert Englund. I love Freddy, but like, please stop. Like,
so we both saw it in the theater. Yeah. So we remember this.
Yes. Theatrical for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. We one of us saw it with friends. The other saw it with a coworker.
Awkwardly with a tripping coworker. Sure.
Yes. Do you remember what you thought of the movie? Do you remember fresh out of the theater your thoughts on this movie?
I loved it.
Me too.
I walked out like on a high. I was like, this is the shit. Like, this movie rules. I was so happy. I couldn't have been like more impressed. And admittedly, so I'm gonna try to make this brief. I have a very I think touching story about this whole thing. So I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and I went to a convention, a comic book convention, and Kane Hodder was there. And my dad took me there, and he said, "You can get one autograph from anybody you want. You pick who it is." And I was fixated on a certain actor from a certain movie that I was obsessed with at the time. Okay. I can say it. Dawn of the Dead. I wanted Flyboy's autograph from Dawn, who's passed away since R.I.P. But what's funny, looking back, he didn't seem like he was happy to be there, and he wasn't. And I think my dad caught on to that, and he goes, "Are you sure? Here's who you can, get autographs." So good on my dad for
catching
probably
that.
Thank him while he's in town.
Yeah.
For that. He was had the perception to realize that guy wasn't super.
Now that you're a dad, you probably get that.
I
right?
get it now.
Yeah.
But at the time I didn't get it. He's like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, he goes, you got Yoda, and he goes, "Kane Hodder, he's Jason." And I went, "I'm sorry, what?" He goes, "He's Jason." I said, "Like Jason?" my young mind could not process that that guy was Jason. And I want Jason's autograph, like 100%. Like, so I go up to his table, and Kane Hodder's not a small man.
He's a hulking
He's
man.
a big boy.
Yes.
And he's got burn scars. He suffered To Hell and Back, I think, is the
documentary and the book, I believe.
Very good. Yeah. Very, very good. I think it's on Amazon Prime.
I believe so, yeah.
It was at one point, but it's worth watching. He suffered some serious burns as a stuntman. And so his hands were scarred, and he was wearing gloves, but his arms, you could see some scarring and stuff. So he's intimidating, and like as a kid, I'm like, this is Jason. Like, this is... So I was nervous. Like, I was like nervous, like he was going to kill me. Like, not like scared, but like nervous.
Yeah.
And he was the sweetest. Like, he took his time with me. I'm like a little kid, and he was like the sweetest. Like, he like gave me a big hug and like had me come back around the table behind with him and like was talking to me, and it's like not like across it. Like he's like come around and like he was like sitting, like he set me down in the chair next to him, like got his agent or whoever, like get up, like let the kid sit, and he's like talking to me and stuff, and he goes, so yada yada, and somehow I was like, I'm so excited for Freddy versus Jason, because at the time Jason Goes to Hell had come out and I'd seen it,
yeah,
and the hand comes up, and I like that was a thing that was going to happen, so I'm so excited, and he goes, can I tell you a secret? And he goes, you can't tell anybody else in the world. You never tell anybody. And so like now I'm like, oh my God, Jason is going to tell me, like, and he goes, come here. And he goes, I'm going to win. Like he goes, I win. Don't tell anybody. And then so I don't want to get emotional, but it's kind of sweet. Like I remember walking out of the theater and going, it wasn't Kane, but he did. Yeah. Like so like it was like there's a sweet moment of like, I'm so happy that like when I was like a 6-year-old or 7-year-old kid, like he was like, I'm gonna like he let me in on the big secret. Like who knows? That probably had nothing to do with the finished product, but like
right.
Like I remember walking out in high school and going like, I knew, like yeah, like Kane gave me the info. So yeah, I still have my Kane autograph on the wall. Like
yeah.
It's still there.
What does it say on it?
You're next. To Willie, you're next. And as a kid, I was like, fuck yeah, like, let's go. This is so sweet. He was. I do at some point would like to. He's at like every con, which is great. Good for him. I'd love to go up and
tell him that story.
And tell him like, dude,
yeah.
Like let me tell you, like I'm sure he'd be like, whoa, like that's pretty cool. So at some point,
he seems like a very genuine. And,
yes.
Like,
at
nice
some point,
person.
I will go up and see him again and talk to him. What I'd like to do is have him sign an autograph for Josie.
That would be really cool. Yeah,
it'd be sweet, right?
Yeah, put it next to that one.
Yep. So anyway, enough of that sappy stuff.
So we were in the same boat. We're both Jason fans. We were cheering for Jason.
Yes, we were. Yes.
No, thank you for bringing up Jason Goes to Hell, because that's kind of the weird thing about this is like it was teased in like 1993.
So New Line had just gotten the
rights to Friday the 13th. So they had
the
rights
trying to work it out.
So the house that Freddy built is what New Line Cinema was called for the longest time, and kind of referred to still in some circles, because the Nightmare on Elm Street helped build.
It built New Line, yes. And New Line became a monster. And
yes.
Throughout the 90s into like the mid-2000s, it's still around, but it's not what it was, I don't think.
No, I believe someone bought it out.
It was about out? Okay.
I think so. Yeah, I haven't kept up on it.
No shock there. But it was a huge deal.
They don't have the rights. If they're still around, they don't have the rights to Nightmare anymore. Because it's floating around, and there are plenty of rumors about it.
Some stuff about that.
Yeah, me too. Nothing confirmed, though.
Curious about that. We've talked about our ideas for a new Nightmare, and I think you and I are both on the same page. Anyway, we won't.
So when at the end, when the hand comes out of the ground, grabs the hockey mask,
it was meant to be.
That was the first tease in 1993, and then you heard a lot of stories of development, and most of the stuff in the 90s was in like horror magazines like Fangoria, and fans talking about it.
There was some online chatter there, like in the later era. Like 97, 98, like post, and because then, of course, Wes Craven came back to the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, so then they went and made New Nightmare. That's understandable. Yeah. And then they made Jason X. Now, I remember, because Jason X was just to hold the rights.
But as a younger horror fan, that didn't click with me, because I remember thinking like, why are they doing this?
Why is this thing? Yep.
Because
I saw Jason X in the theater, but I was like begrudgingly going to see it.
I'm like, why are we not just making Freddy versus Jason at this point? I I was newer to the internet at this point because this would have been the time of like Ain't It Cool News and like.
Yep.
Do you remember? Not to bring up because they Ain't It Cool News, but you remember they had the big camp out for this movie?
Oh my God, they did! Yes.
They went to a summer camp and like screened this movie, and they were all wearing like short shorts. You could see old Harry Knowles, the Ain't It Cool News, and like short camp. So just be warned, that's on the DVD. But anyway,
avoid that.
But I remember following along like in the early days of the internet, for me at least, and just being like, Jason X, like. They're going to, well, like, what? I thought they were making Freddy versus Jason. Like, what's the holdup?
Why
here?
are we doing this? Yeah.
But I didn't realize it's because they were cycling through.
They were trying to make it.
Yeah. All of these scripts, trying to find the perfect one. And it seems to me like the Shannon Swift script, which is what they ended up going with, it almost feels to me like they're just finally like, screw it, we need to do this.
I'm of two minds of this. So, like, on one hand, I agree where it feels like the studio execs went, this is good enough. We're done. Release the fucking movie because we're not like if we don't move on this at this point, we're never gonna this is our last chance to make money. And it made money, so they made the right choice. But that in a way it feels that doesn't it feel that way where it's like it's almost like it's fine enough. Like release it. It's
also something where like I go through and I read a lot of what's in those scripts. So the one that takes place where the ending takes place in hell, I sit there and go, you can't film this.
No,
like this is unfilmable.
So the early stuff was too ambitious.
Yeah, and then there's like weirder stuff like the Ronald D. Moore, who Battlestar Galactica for All Mankind.
Yep.
He and Benjamin Braga, who are working on Star Trek.
Yes,
I think it's Braga. Anyway,
it's Braga. Yeah.
They did a pass, and it's like a courtroom drama.
It's too,
and you're like this is interesting in a way, but
how is this Freddy versus Jason?
Nobody wants to go see a courtroom drama. So like you go through these scripts and there's all these weird flaws in them where you're just like, it's unfilmable.
It's
you can't
too grounded,
get the cast.
like really grounded. Yeah.
These characters are just like they don't fit. So it does feel like they finally got to a script where they said, good enough, let's make the thing.
Agreed. On the flip side of that coin, I also feel like I get that because this is about as good as you're going to get when you're trying to mash these two things together.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a better... there's nothing offensive here for purists.
Right. As far as the two main characters go.
There's no, nothing here would offend Jason fans as, purists of the Jason lore or Freddy. They stick true to what their original, concepts are. There's no, trying to intermingle Freddy and Jason's origins. There's none of that. It's gone. Jason gets to kill teenagers. Freddy gets to kill a couple. There's a big battle at the end. None of the teenage characters are interesting or unique or whatever. They're all kind of...
Who's your least favorite?
What is Jason Ritter doing in this movie? He sucks.
I get annoyed by the dude who's doing a Jack Black impression. The Jay from Jay and Silent Bob.
He's fun.
He doesn't bother me as much.
I don't care.
Lachlan Monroe is my favorite.
He's best,
as he always says. Monica Keita is awful in this movie.
Terrible.
Who's worse? I think she's worse than the woman from Destiny's Child. Is it Kelly Rowland?
Okay, here's what's tough. I think Monica Keena is probably a better actress. Probably. Her dialogue is way worse. So it's tough because, she doesn't get as... Kelly Rowland gets, some fun stuff to work with, at least.
Yeah, towards the end when
Monica
she's talking...
Keena gets, some garbage lines. How do you deliver that?
When she's talking shit with Freddy, that stuff's kind of fun.
The water and fire thing. Freddy was killed by fire. Jason was killed by water. How do we use this?
This is one of the weird...
It's terrible.
This movie, watching it now, it's like a weird experience because it's directed by Ronnie Yu, who came from Hong Kong director.
Yep. Martial arts movies mostly.
Yeah, and then he did Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
It was his big horror one. But the thing is, a lot of those movies are kind of comic booky and over the top. And it's his style is kind of a weird mesh with a lot of what's going on. Because it's he's got everything amped up to 11 and he wants it to be this big, colorful comic book, pro wrestling fight.
Well, he said before, he wanted this to be a WWF fight.
Yes.
At the end. That his vision of the fight was like it was like a big time like Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, like.
And I think the fight is the best stuff in the movie.
It's incredible.
I think that
still works.
Yeah, I think like I forgive a lot of the issues I have with the movie. And it's funny to say I have like, issues.
There's some good kills though.
There are
throughout. Yeah.
So there are a couple of fun set pieces. Him being the Jason rave on fire rocks.
Do you remember the YouTube video at the time that was the okay? So remember the. Do you remember the Bruce Springsteen song, "The Wrestler"?
Yeah,
it was written for The Wrestler.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Slasher?
No.
I'll play it for you after we're done.
Okay.
There's a spoof of The Wrestler.
Okay.
And it's done in the style of the Bruce Springsteen song. It's called The Slasher, and it's about Jason.
Okay.
And my favorite line is about from the spoof song is about Freddy vs. Jason, and it says, "In the flames, I'll kill a fat kid in the corn," and it's really good. So I always think of that.
But that stuff rocks. Some of the dream sequences are kind of innovative and fun to look at. But it's the final showdown between Freddy versus Jason where I think it delivers.
Crystal Lake.
Yeah. And they're hacking and like blood is flying.
It's so sweet.
It rocks. I remember
it feels very anime inspired in a way. Like I don't want to use not Japanese, but like it feels very like it's like the blood is like fountains.
Yeah.
And it's just like this. Yeah.
Well, I mean a lot of like that Asian extreme style.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
for sure.
like a Mike or yep. The crowd I was with, like they sucked for like an hour of the movie, and then all of a sudden the finale came, and like everybody around me like woke up.
That was certainly the biggest, yeah.
So I came out of this movie like I was with you, and I loved it. I would defend it, like I was like,
pumped,
defending it to the death, and I would defend every single choice the movie made. Yeah. Now looking back at it, all right, there are a couple things I want to ask you because we should address.
Okay.
Ken Kersinger plays Jason in this movie. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not Kane Hodder. Everybody, that was kind of the thing. It was like Kane Hodder versus Robert Englund, as well as Freddy versus Jason, because Kane Hodder had become the Jason for a lot of people.
4 movies before this. Yeah.
Yep.
So he was now Jason. Yeah. Yeah.
He was excited for it. The fans wanted him.
Yep.
At the time, I defended the choice because, like I said, I was defending everything. Sure. As I look back on this movie now,
should have been Kane Hodder.
It should have been Kane Hodder.
No offense to Ken Kersinger is fine, and technically he had played Jason before. He was Kane's stunt double on Jason Takes Manhattan.
Is it Manhattan? Okay,
but it should have been Kane Hodder. And it's funny because there's like a passing of the buck thing if you watch some of the behind the scenes stuff on this. Nobody takes responsibility for the whole recasting thing.
So what do you think it is? Has this story ever come out? Is it money?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's some people say that Ronnie Yu did not want
Kane
Hodder. And Ronnie Yu says that the producers decided they didn't want Kane Hodder, and he went along with it because it is what it is. So it's a mixed bag. I don't know what Kane believes or what Kane was told. The ultimate thing is whoever made the decision made the decision on size. Because Kane's a big guy, but Kane is not a giant. Like Ken Kersinger is like a monster.
That's weird to me that would be it though, because
they want Jason to look like bigger than Robert, like way bigger than Robert Englund.
But it's weird to me because
Kane's built, but he's not like.
But Jason, in a lot of ways, is the underdog in this movie.
So it almost is like anti. It's almost I
remember Ronnie talking a lot about the soulful eyes of Ken Kersinger. He said Ken Kersinger had soulful eyes, like you could see the pain behind them from when Jason was a silent. And I remember thinking, like, oh, I don't think Kane Hodder's eyes are that bad.
There's nothing.
Never looked deeply into.
There's
them.
Nothing that. Once again, Ken Kersinger's fine. I'm not trying to. Whatever. There's nothing here that Kane Hodder couldn't have accomplished. In my opinion, so
that's one of the things I look back on, and it's a missed opportunity. Like that's like a miss for me from the movie.
It's a miss.
Like if I could go back, the other thing too is, I don't think it's necessarily like the Kane Hodder thing. I understand why they went with a cast of young teen.
It makes sense.
It makes sense
given the origins of the film series. Like
cheaper.
Yeah.
There's a part of me, like part of the fun of a mashup like this. And I think like Alien versus Predator misses the boat on this too. Mm-hmm. part of the fun is bringing back characters like a Tommy Jarvis from this movie or a Nancy and like seeing them interact, like those human characters, the survivors. And you've seen like comic book stories kind of use that as a jumping off
Freddy
point.
vs. Jason vs. Ash does a great job of like the comic books do a great job of bringing back those legacy from both series. So like that would have been like the ultimate fan experience to have those. But yeah. I see why they didn't do that though, because
once again,
you don't want to bring back all those actors. Like,
and
there's a lot of baggage with that.
It's a lot of fan service too, and you're not really necessarily you're making
a movie in 2003.
The cynical
peak of these movies was the 80s
side of my brain, exactly, and the cynical part of my brain, because there are scripts that tie into like the sister and stuff too.
You can't do it.
Like the cynical older side of my brain thinks like, you know what, people like me that want to see that, we're gonna show up anyway. What you want to do as like an executive is bring in kids that aren't super familiar with these worlds.
They don't want to know about Tina from part 7 of one of the, like there's no like, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Have you seen the reactions to people online about things of like the Marvel movies? Like, how am I supposed to know what this is about with the new Ant-Man? And I'm like,
can you imagine if they're bringing back deep cut Friday the 13th?
Yeah. Google it. Dummy. But like back then you couldn't. So I want to say so Ken Kersinger's 6'5".
Okay.
Kane is 6'2" and some change. So
Kersinger is okay. Like
he's fine.
He's fine.
I'm not dissing Kersinger, but like Kane the reason why people like Kane Hodder is because he brought a true there was a performance to Kane, to his work. When you saw his Jason, you knew it was his Jason. The walk was different. The breathing is what always got it for me, like with him. He had this certain... The shoulders would raise and like drop in a certain speed where they would kind of rise and fall and roll a little bit. You get none of that in this. It's just a very stiff robot. I think the one actor that I would have loved, and I will never see it now because it's been too long, is Mears. I would have loved to have seen another Derek Mears Jason. And he's a bigger boy, so that would have made sense. But Mears wasn't around, obviously, at that point in time. That,
So, I
agree. Yeah,
we got one cursor. I don't want to see anymore. So, okay, we've established how we felt now.
Yes. Sorry.
So we're gonna wrap this up here.
What are your overall thoughts though on the movie? Like, I want to know. Like,
so what are our thoughts now, 20 years later? Is what I wanted, because I watched it again. And I watch it every so often because it's fun. And everyone, I like to throw it on background noise a lot of the time, but whatever. I still have a lot of fun with it. Now, I brought up after I saw it, I loved it so much I was defending every single choice made in this movie. I can't do it with a couple things. One of them is the Kane Hodder. I won't defend that.
That's a bummer. Yeah, it's the movie still works, but it's a huge bummer.
Yeah, it's a miss now for me, especially as I've grown in my fandom. And the other one too is the Jason afraid of water thing. I remember
terrible.
It's so stupid.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense. And I would defend it when I was younger. I'd be like, yeah, well, you got to have Jason have a weakness.
He died, bruh.
Yeah, he died in water. You don't get it.
The dude's been in water 90% of the movies. What are we doing?
So now I watch it, I'm like, it's stupid.
It's terrible.
It's really dumb. I can't defend that.
They could have found a way to make the nightmare scenes of Jason, which I love the nightmare fight. That's really cool. They do some cool stuff visually and stuff. They could have there could have been a fear of Jason's they could have played off of that was not just, oh, he's scared of water. That felt like a lazy, okay.
Yeah.
He drowned, so.
So what I'll say is this. What this movie has to do, and everybody knows that, it has to deliver the big fight.
Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah. It delivers. And everything up until that point keeps my attention, which is something I can't say for something like Alien versus Predator. I'm just thinking of a modern style of this. And I know there are a lot of the Godzilla movies have a little bit similarities to this, and the old monster rallies. Those are different. Yeah. These I'm talking about stuff like this that came out in the 2000s. I thought we were going to get a big boom of these type of movies.
Well, there was going to be. So let's not forget. So when this movie did big numbers, which it did, it was very successful. Mm-hmm. I think it's the highest grossing in either franchise. to this date. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I think it is though.
I remember the remake had an insane first weekend and then died. It was crazy.
You remember Friday?
What's that?
Friday?
Friday the 13th remake. Yeah. The first weekend.
Nightmare didn't do good at all.
Yeah.
But Friday had like an insane. Yeah, it was
crazy.
It just plummeted off a cliff. Yeah, terrible. One of the worst dives I think ever.
It's crazy. Yeah, it was great. I think they were smart to release it on Friday the 13th, but everybody after that was like, I don't want to see it. It's Friday the 20th.
I'm over it. So, but they wanted to do like one of the ones that got really far along was the Michael Myers Pinhead thing.
Okay.
That was very close to happening. I think the director hired and stuff like that. Like that was super close. And then I think ultimately there was a dimension issue.
Well, Kevin Smith has talked a little bit about doing like a Jay and Silent Bob Hellraiser.
That was
mashup, kind of in like an Abbott and the Costello.
But that was another
style.
Dimension thing that I think it just felt. Well, I mean, we know who is behind Dimension, so.
So what? Now I'm going to ask you. 20 years later, now that we look back on it,
yeah.
What do you think of this movie?
It's like nostalgia candy, right? So it when I watch this movie, I can immediately go back to a certain point in my life and have that feeling I had when I saw it in the theater. Which is funny because I don't remember exactly who I saw it with in the theater, but I had that same feeling of it just takes me back to a different time. And part of that is the soundtrack, which we'll talk about. But
baby, when that El Nino hits it over the Freddy versus Jason credits,
I am like 12 years old or 13 years old or whatever I am, and I have my Freddy versus Jason CD that I bought from Harmony House, and I'm putting it in my boombox. I had a pretty decent boombox.
Yeah.
Like I was not a boombox because a boombox you carry around, but this is like a CD player with the two speakers.
Absolutely.
We're
talking about some of this in a second, but
my sound system.
Oh,
anyway,
we'll get there.
So it's as a special place in my heart. It's not a good movie. The performances are awful. The characters are as thinly written as you can get, but that last 20 minutes is magic, and it's still magic. So It delivers on the title. There's some good kills throughout. It delivers on the title, though. That's the main. The movie is not great, but what you came for Freddy versus Jason, and it's worth going there for. So yeah, I still enjoy it.
All right.
It's low on the lower end of certainly the Friday series for me.
Okay.
Nightmare series, it's in the middle. Middle to high.
I would go middle because there are a couple nightmares that I really like.
There's 3 nightmares I like, maybe 4 more than this.
Okay.
With Friday, it's 7 Fridays I like more than this. So there you go.
There we go. So that's our little retrospective here. Now, I'm sure the folks out there, you'll get a lot of retrospectives coming up for this film.
I'm sure.
What you won't get is, and this is why we're here.
This is wholly unique to us.
You printed out the bracket. We're going to do this. We're going to run through this.
I'm ready.
All right. So this is what you brought this up. Now, in the
most important part of Freddy vs. Jason is the soundtrack, guys. No, hold on. I'm just going to. Guys, ladies, gents. If you weren't buying the Freddy vs. Jason soundtrack, original motion picture inspired by the film, whatever it's called, the soundtrack, you were missing out because this was the pinnacle.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
Last year, this movie popped in my head. I'm like, oh, it's got to be close to an anniversary of this movie. And I realized it was
20 killed you, right?
What's that?
The 20-year thing killed you, right?
23-year 20 killed. Then I realized it was 2023, and I go, all I want to do is talk about the soundtrack with Willie. That will be our retrospective. And then I decided I wanted to talk about the movie too, but I wanted to do this bracket.
This is where the money is, though.
Now, when I was 19 years old, Tim Long in Gaylord, driving up and down Main Street in Gaylord in his Honda Accord, his 1987 Honda Accord, I believe at the time, I had a system. I didn't just have I didn't just have the factory. I had a system. I had like Kenwood.
Subwoofer.
Yeah, the subwoofer. The back that thing and that Accord would the bass would just.
Hell yeah, dude!
It probably.
You had to have a system, dude.
Dude, it was so sick, and I'd just drive up and down Main Street, and like
Freddy
that would
Jason just.
That would, I don't know if kids still do that, but that would happen. Like you listen and like that dude's got a good system, and I'm sure my Accord was just pumping.
That was our generation thing. Like that was.
There were 4 things on repeat, 4 CDs on repeat here, and
Let's hear it.
AFI Sing the Sorrow.
Ooh, AFI.
Yeah.
Is that AFI? Yeah.
AFI Sing the Sorrow was on repeat on my album.
That's good.
It's Saint Anger. Metallica. This is the summer of 2003.
Yeah, I
Fountains of Wayne, Interstate Manager.
Oh, my.
I got the Stacy's Mom IPA right here.
I like that. How's that? Pretty good?
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it's a citrus. And then this CD, Freddy vs. Jason soundtrack. This is the summer of 2003. And these things, now as I got in the fall, there were some hip-hop albums that came out. Speaker Box Love Below by Outkast.
Great.
The Black Album by Jay-Z. And Chicken and Beer by Luda. Now that's when the system was really bumping, when you got the bass going.
If you had the rap, hip-hop, rap.
Yeah, I'm not driving up and down. To be clear, I was not driving up and down Main Street playing Fountains of Wayne. Like, that was just for me. But I was blasting the FVJ soundtrack.
Excellent. Great choice. Yeah, oh man, I don't have a car, so we won't. I would have been blasting this, though, for sure.
Well, I've got every song from the soundtrack here in a bracket.
And it is a ridiculous. This is back when soundtracks were like 20 songs long, not like 10.
I looked at the time on Wikipedia, and it's like 78 minutes long.
It's insane, and it rules.
So we're going to go through, and we're going to make our picks. We don't have to spend super long on them, although knowing us, we might. There's no rhyme or reason.
I'm going to make sure I mention which bands I've seen, too.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to say,
like, a lot of
did you see these people at Ozfest or Tattoo the Earth?
I saw an insane amount of bands during this time period, and I've seen most. We'll get there. Yeah.
All right. So this is a weird matchup. I'm just going to go down the first round on the sides here.
Yes.
Because the way 20 teams works out is just strange. So, and some of this is very small right now. We were Electrocute by Typo Negative versus 11th Hour by Lamb of God.
Indeed.
Typo Negative was like pre a lot of like some of these bands. Like
they're not new metal.
They're like a goth metal band from like the early 90, 92, 93 is when their biggest album came out. Who do you got? No, okay. Have you seen either of these bands live?
I have seen Lamb of God.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you remember where you saw Lamb of God?
I saw Lamb of God in Pontiac, Michigan.
Was that a fest?
No, this would be at I think Clutch Cargo's. Early, like
Clutch Cargo's still around?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I think so. I've seen Lamb of God. I've not seen Typo Negative, but my dad has, and he's a big fan.
Well, Typo Negative, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I go Typo on this one.
I like this.
It's kind of a cool song, like a smooth, like...
It's like a good album closer. It's like 6 minutes long.
Yeah. It's very, like, chill. Plus, the lead singer of Typo Negative was on Jerry Springer one time, and he was awesome. It's like, I get laid a lot.
Lamb of God is a band I like respect for that I like. I don't really. Yes, I'm not a big Lamb of God guy.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't dislike them. I just.
Yeah, me too. I've never been into Lamb of God. I'm with you. I've got We Were Electrocute by Typo Negative. All right, so. Oh no, my thing froze. Trigger by In Flames against Ether by Nothing Face. Who you got here? Oh, have you seen any of these bands live?
I've seen Nothing Face. I've not seen In Flames.
Okay.
Nothing Face, I saw. They were very good. The lead singer is super cool. I met him, and he was like the nicest dude, and like took me around to meet all the other people from all the other bands. Like,
yeah.
He was awesome. He has passed away, I believe, since then, which is sad, but, you know, Nothing Face. On this one, I do have In Flames, because I'm a huge fan of that band, and I think that they had this really cool European sound that you didn't get from all of those bands back then.
They're Swedish.
Yes.
In Flames is Swedish, yeah.
It was an early, like, it was an intro to some of, like, the European death metal stuff that you would hear, like...
Why do you think Swedes are so good at, like, why do you think their death metal so big in Sweden? Because it's cold?
Do you know why? Because there's this I don't even know if it's like a saying or not, but like in times of peace, heavy music kicks ass.
Gotcha.
In times of war, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like in times of like heavy music tends to rule. Like it's weird how that works out, but like Sweden's like always kind of chill.
Yeah.
So like they have like good shit. like because like I think that like when things are like relaxed and stuff, you have to like find a way to like get that part of yourself out because like it's not happening in your like day-to-day life or like your, you know what I'm saying? Like and then like because right now like metal's kind of like, as far as I know, like it doesn't really, like we're going through some rough times and we have been for a while, and like have you seen metal be on the forefront lately? I haven't. I'm old, but so are you. So
I know.
It doesn't seem to be like.
I do know some new metal has seen a resurgence.
A little bit.
Yeah, well, but that makes sense though because, like you said, that makes sense.
There's this whole thing.
I can see the younger generation that might be getting into music liking
yes.
like a lot of stuff like Linkin Park.
Yes.
Yeah.
That could be a nostalgia thing too at this point because we're, like I said, we're old. So it's so sad. Anyway, so I'm gonna go with In Flames. Not my favorite In Flames song, but a solid one for sure.
I like the song. I like Trigger a lot.
Yeah.
The thing with the Nothing Face song is like it comes on. It's like the 17th song. I'm kind of worn out. Like on the album, I think this was a skip a lot of the times for me because then I got to the In Flames song and I'm like, ooh, back in.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on to the next round on this side? Or do you want to go to the other side of the bracket?
Let's go ahead and finish this side first, and then we'll go ahead and
How Can I Live by Il Nino, not El Nino, the weather.
Yes.
Versus We Were Electrocute by Typo Negative. I think we both have that matchup.
Oh man, this is tough. I'm gonna go Il Nino. I've seen them live. I love the Typo song, but Il Nino's that's kind of a banger of a song. Like, it gets me like, and this is one of those songs where like when I hear it, I go Freddy vs. Jason. That's
the big advantage.
It is like definitive of like
this
that.
Is like it might because it's the first song and it's also the title song.
Yep.
This is also like I got into Il Nino for like 2 or 3 months because of this.
Yeah, we all did. We all did. Hey, we all did.
And then I don't think, but this song is also one of. I think it's the only song. Well, there's one other, but I don't associate that song. We'll get to it with this soundtrack.
There's a couple on here, like
this one comes up in one of my playlists, like all the time. Like
it's a good song.
I like the song.
Yeah,
like I like
Typo's great, but this one jams. Like this is the radio.
The Typo song is a weird fit for Freddy vs. Jason. In some
Turn
ways.
This up.
Yeah, I've got El Nino as well. Out of My Way by Seether versus Welcome to the Strange by Murder Dolls.
Murder Dolls. So this was Joey Jordison's
right?
side project.
It's like a glam metal.
Yeah. No, it's Seether. I'm not a big Seether guy. I think Seether's kind of dorky. My wife loves Seether.
Okay.
But this song's it's terrible. This song's actually pretty good.
Out of My Way.
Yeah, it's not bad. Murder Dolls is. I've not seen Murder Dolls live. I've not seen Seether live. This is one where I've not seen either one. But
where did you see Il Nino, by the way?
I don't remember, but I've seen them.
Did they play Tattoo the Earth?
Maybe. That was a great show, dude. I saw so many bands. I met everybody. I'll look it up, but
we've talked about Tattoo the Earth. Could you one more time?
Oh shit!
Just in a briefly explain Tattoo.
Tattoo the Earth was a tour that a group of nu metal bands did, and the idea was that you go see all the nu metal bands, and then you could also get tattoos.
Yeah, look,
at the show.
Yeah.
And it was, this is the year 2000. I went, and it was at the Phoenix Plaza Amphitheater in Michigan, and I went, and it was Pontiac.
Okay.
I went, and I would have been 14. Yeah. And my brother went until he was 10 with my dad, and it kicked ass.
Nobody got any tattoos?
Nope.
Okay.
But we met everybody. my dad bumped into a guy who my dad was in a band for years.
Yeah.
So he was a local musician, and we were watching. We just finished Mudvayne's set.
Yeah,
it fucking ruled. And Mudvayne's not on the soundtrack, sadly. And we my dad bumped into this guy, and so they had a conversation. I was kind of like, nah, I just met the singer from Mudvayne through a fence. He signed my hat, which I have upstairs. So many signatures on it, Tim. You'd be so proud. And my dad goes, I don't want to get you as excited, but I think something good's about to happen.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And Slayer was about to go on. And Slayer comes on, and we're watching Slayer, and I was not a huge Slayer guy at the time. They were like old for me, which sounds lame, but they were like I knew Raining Blood, which was sweet, but like I was like, oh, where's Slipknot kind of thing. I mean, I was a teenager, so my dad comes back and he goes, come on, let's go. And we walked all the way to the stage, and we got let back behind the stage, and I met everybody. It was the best. I mean, like, everybody. It was, and like, Slipknot was like my Beatles. Like, I know that sounds insane, like, to like normal people right now, but like, imagine meeting your favorite band at the time, like the band that like ruled your world.
Right.
Like your heroes musically. I met them. And they wore masks, and I got to see them without their masks.
Yeah.
And the only reason I knew them is because the singer of Nothing Face was like, that's Mick. Because I didn't know what they looked like without their masks. It was pretty sweet.
I love bringing up Tattoo of the Earth, though, because Tattoo of the Earth is like the sort of thing that could only happen in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
The answer is yes. Absolutely.
So who do you got? I'm sorry. Welcome to the Stranger. Out of my way.
It's gonna be Seether actually this time around. Yeah, I was never a big Murder Dolls guy. Not my thing. Yep.
I actually got the Murder Dolls song just because I think it's silly fun.
It's a fun throwback to that.
It's like an Alice Cooper style song. It's fine. I'm with you. I'm not a big Seether guy. So all right, let's finish off this up. I've got How Can I Live by El Nino versus Welcome to the Strange. The El Nino song's better.
Yes, agreed. 100%.
You've got it over Seether as well?
Wait, no, I'm sorry. No, I don't. I have Seether over El Nino.
Oh wow! Okay.
I like the Seether song.
All right,
I take it back. I wanted to go El Nino, but the Seether just, I don't know, it just felt good. I can't describe it.
This is stuff I'm not like.
I blame it on my wife. She listens to Seether. So
when I talk about music, it's mostly like I like the lyrics and the melody, and I'm like I don't go as in depth as a lot of people.
No,
like,
I got Seether.
I like songs that are catchy in some ways.
It felt right to me. El Nino I like, but I want Seether.
So we both had Trigger by In Flames.
Yes.
It's going up against When Darkness Falls by Killswitch Engage. So as a wrestling...
Wait, did we do Spine Shank and Power Man?
Isn't that on the other side?
No, that's on the bottom left.
We haven't got to that. I'm moving down.
Oh, good.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. No, we're getting to that. That's next. That's next.
Good. Killswitch for me.
All right. So as a wrestling fan, I think I should like Killswitch.
Killswitch is like a very storied wrestling.
Yeah, with like CM Punk and stuff.
Yep.
I don't like Killswitch Engage that much. I know. I've never liked them. I don't like this song either. I don't know. It's just like it doesn't hit.
That's fair. That's fair.
It doesn't hit for me. I don't have much else. I thought I took some notes.
I've seen Killswitch live.
Oh yeah, where'd they say them? Where'd you see them?
I had no idea. I've seen them live though. They were sweet.
I don't like this song. I like Trigger better. All right, Spine Shank, Beginning of the End versus
Beginning of the End.
Another pro wrestling song. I believe it was the Dudley Boys theme song for like a hot second in like 2001.
Spine Shank?
No, Bombshell by Power Man.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what? Spine Shank was Dudley.
Yeah, when the invasion was happening, like when they were doing the ECW WCW invasion, I think their theme song was Bombshell by Power Man.
I went Power Man. Like,
I like Beginning of the End a lot.
I like both, but Power Man's just so silly to me that I had to I went with them.
The thing with Power Man, it's not in the movie, right?
I think.
Okay.
Right? Isn't that a radio or something?
Is it?
Am I wrong?
You might be right.
Get up, get up, get up.
Quite a bit.
Isn't he Rob Zombie's like brother?
He's like his nephew or something. I don't remember.
Okay.
He's related to Rob Zombie. Here's the thing with Bombshell. They have another big hit.
Yes.
When Worlds Collide. And guess what?
Yeah.
That fits way better with Freddy vs. Jason than Bombshell does. Because the worlds of Freddy vs. Jason are colliding. It's a missed opportunity. So I actually, this Spine Shank song is the other one. Like when I think of this album, this and the El Nino song, and another song coming up on the other side, are the ones I think of.
You know what? You switched me. I'm going Spine Shank. You switched me. Spine Shank.
So we both have Spine Shank versus...
He's Rob Zombie's younger brother.
You have Spine Shank versus... Oh, is he the younger brother?
Yeah.
Okay. Spine Shank versus Kill Switch.
Yep.
I've got Spine Shank versus Engage.
And
I've got Spine Shank going on over the In Flames song, actually. I like the beginning and the end, and you have Kill Switch going on to the final four.
I do.
Let's leave that
all right
side of the bracket for now. Middle of Nowhere by The Blank Theory.
Yep.
Have you seen them?
Nope.
Okay. Versus The Waste by Sepultura.
Yes, seen them. Dead to the Earth.
This is the Sepultura song with like Mike Patton, right?
It is, yes. This is when they I think Max Cavalera left at this point. Left Sepultura and joined a different band. I can't remember the name. But what's weird was Sepultura was at Dead to the Earth, and also Max Cavalera's current band at the time was also Soulfly.
Oh,
so
okay.
Sepultura, which he left, and Soulfly, which he like formed, were both at the same show. Like same, it was weird. But this is, I think, post Max when they had Mike Patton jumping in for this song. It was kind of an odd time for Sepultura.
Yeah. So I'm not like a huge fan. I like Sepultura and I like Mike Patton.
Yeah.
I don't like this song.
No, I don't.
It's repetitive and it feels like what it is, which is a B-side that like they threw at the soundtrack.
They put a feature down and they were like,
and then like the soundtrack, people are like, we could use a song by Sepultura, like, and they're like, here, take this one.
Yep.
Yeah. I kind of like the Blank Theory song.
You know why I like it? It reminds me of 90s slasher movies.
Yeah.
It has a very like 90s slasher movie, like it could be on the, like this Disturbing Behavior soundtrack. So, and this movie has some ties to that era of.
Funny enough that you bring that up.
Yes.
It was on the Final Destination 2 soundtrack as well. The same song.
There you go.
Yes. I found like
totally. Then
some weird trivia about them related to Fountains of Wayne. Adam Schlesinger, who was in Fountains of Wayne, he's also written a bunch of stuff. He wrote a lot of the songs for this show, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. This band was signed to New Line Records, and he was a producer for them. And so was James Iha, who was in the Smashing Pumpkins and A Perfect Circle.
Yep.
They were only around for like a hot minute, this band, but like it's a weird mix of like people. I like that song.
I do too.
Yeah. Let's move down to the other early round one.
Yep.
Swinging the Dead by Devil Driver versus Inside the Cynic by Stone Sour.
Swinging the Dead.
All right, I love this song.
It's sweet.
Have you seen either of these two bands?
I've seen both.
I was gonna say, I'm sure you've seen Stone Sour.
Both, yes. I picked Stone Sour because I'm a sucker for Stone Sour. You
like Stone Sour?
I do. But Swinging the Dead, is pretty sweet too.
I love it. I've got Swinging the Dead. I love this song. Fun trivia about this was also featured in an episode of Scrubs. Someone is like
really
rocking out to it. Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm a sucker for Stone Sour, so I go with that. My thing, and I think I've told you this before, my thing with Stone Sour is my favorite Stone Sour songs just kind of sound like Slipknot songs. My favorite Stone Sour song is Absolute Zero, which is a Slipknot song. It's it's just a Slipknot song. Yeah. I do like some of the slower stuff too. I will say, and some of the worst Slipknot songs sound like Stone Sour songs. So I will say this: I like Corey Taylor's Stone Sour's work more than I like his solo work. His like more recent solo work. You like Stone Sour more? Yes, agreed. Yeah. 100%. We don't. His newer newer solo stuff is really it's kind of goofy. It's look at me, I'm Corey Taylor. Yeah, it's yikes. It's weird, like middle then like Crisis kind of. It's very much like
I grew up on arena rock. I want to try to make arena rock, and it's kind of. There are a couple of the songs I like in a goofy way, but it's not for me. It seems to be mostly for him.
Yes, it seems like it's for a female audience. Does that make sense? Like the ladies that are really into Corey Taylor.
Yeah,
he's like playing into that.
And if it works,
hey,
more power to you. Sun Doesn't Rise by Mushroomhead versus I've Got Middle of Nowhere. We both got Middle of Nowhere by Blink Theory.
Yes.
Sun doesn't rise at all.
Look at my face. Don't think I'm there. Mushroomhead.
I've got Mushroomhead too. I like the song.
Yes, yeah.
So we.
I bought the Mushroomhead album because of this song on Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sweet. Yeah.
Condemned and Rebirth by Hatebreed versus Snap by Slipknot. This is our second Corey Taylor appearance on this side of the bracket.
Yes,
right?
And second Joey Jordison.
Yes.
I do. Okay, so
one more time, I don't go to Snap.
One more time, I don't go to Snap. I'm a huge Slipknot fan. I was certainly at this point in time. I do not like Hatebreed. I've seen both live. I've never liked Hatebreed. It's Slipknot for me. We'll talk about this song in the next round, but this one's Slipknot for me.
This was one of Snap is one of my favorite. This is the
Go
other
to
one.
Snap.
This is a really fun song to sing in the car.
It's like, a good lawn mowing song. When your mower dies and you're like, one more time, I'm gonna snap. Yep, you're like, it's perfect.
Army of Me by Chimera.
Chimera, yes.
Versus Swingin' the Dead by me, and you've got Stone Sour.
Yeah. It's Stone Sour for me. I've seen Chimera live. I've never been a big Chimera guy. So
this is the band I believe, or is it from? Let me double check my notes here because I was making notes as I listened to this. It's been a while since I listened to this. Oh, this is Chimera. This song has some of my favorite lyrics on the album. Surrounded by liars, killers, and haters, cowards and crooks. I'm surrounded by filth.
Sick.
It's very sick. Yeah, I have Swingin' the Dead.
Swingin' the Dead. The lead singer, I believe, of Devil Driver is also the lead singer for Coal Chamber, right?
Yes.
Coal Chamber rules.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Coal Chamber guy. So like their Shock the Monkey cover kicks ass. Yeah, it's arguably better than the Peter Gabriel one, but you know.
Hey, we don't want angry letters from the Peter Gabriel.
I love Peter Gabriel. I'm not trying to shit. I'm a Genesis guy. I'm a Peter Gabriel, but like that cover's pretty sweet.
Then the final matchup here. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't. The After Dinner Payback by From
Autumn to Ashes.
By Autumn to Ashes versus Leech by Seven Dust. The Autumn to Ashes. I just want to put this out there. I hate one of the singers, the voice of one of the singers. Nails on a chalkboard.
This is one of my favorite songs on the soundtrack. Because it's hilarious. Because the guy is like
against my
and then like the guy goes it's early emo screamo stuff. Early.
And it's going against one of my favorite. I like John Witherspoon's voice.
It's butter, dude.
So this is like my least favorite voice on the album versus like probably my favorite voice.
He's
on the
incredible.
Album. Yeah,
it's Seven Dust.
Yeah, and I like this song.
And this song is fun. Like it's a good Seven Dust song. It's not even close. Like their best is
right
even above this. So like I've never seen From Autumn to Ashes live. Seven Dust I've seen live, and that dude live.
Yeah. They're not the most metal band, quote unquote, on here. I like Seven Dust.
They're like a Creed. Like it sounds bad. They're like a Creed that actually like writes good songs. Does that make sense? Like
I see what you're saying.
They're heavy, but they're catchy.
Yeah,
and there's like soul to the songs. Creed was trying to do all of that, but that just felt weirdly like I don't know.
So we both have Seven Dust
here,
right? Yeah. All right. So we're gonna move back up. Did you have Mushroomhead?
I had Seether. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mushroomhead and Snap, right?
Mushroomhead versus Snap on
we
this
both
one.
have that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mushroomhead.
You got Mushroomhead?
So I love Slipknot. Snap's kind of a bad Slipknot song, honestly.
It's not their best.
No, not even close. It's Mushroomhead because this is like top tier Mushroomhead. And like bottom tier not bottom, but close to bottom tier Slipknot.
Snap is like I said, a lot of fun to sing along to, and I like the Mushroomhead song better. I just think it's a better song.
It's sweet. The chorus is "Sun doesn't rise." It's cool. Yeah.
Did you have the Chimera song "Army of Me"? Or no? Did you?
No, I had Seven Dust
or Stone Sour.
Stone Sour, yes.
Stone Sour versus Seven
Dust. Yes, that's right. for me, it's going to be Seven Dust.
Yeah, I've got Seven Dust.
Once again, Stone Sour, like the band, this is a weaker Stone Sour song. So we're dealing with like B-side Corey Taylor.
It's funny, the bands that like are still around and you still hear like
yes,
some of their weaker stuff is on here. Like the bigger bands, some of their weaker stuff
because they probably submitted their weaker stuff for the soundtrack.
But like some of the other bands that aren't around, like their strongest stuff is on here.
It's true.
And that may be like they may be tied in with New Line Records or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
So you have all right. So our final fours.
Yes.
I have How Can I Live. You have
Seether.
Yep. I have Beginning of the End, and you have
Kill Switch.
And then on the other side, we both have Mushroom Head, and we both have Seven Dust.
So we have a totally even right hand side here, yeah, and a completely different. That's fun. You and I are funny because like. Movie-wise, we like tend to agree on stuff, but like music-wise, we're kind of like we agree on some stuff, but like it's always a mixed bag. So this is fun.
Music is music.
It's so hard to.
It's tough because it's all what you like. It's I don't judge anybody's musical taste.
Yeah, you can't. No, it's impossible.
I like to crack jokes about like certain musicians.
There are some songs I don't like. Like I just don't like Love Shack, which Josie has played multiple times. Like
have you tried to get her on Rock Lobster? Oh.
It's better than Love Shack.
My son loves Rock Lobster. I think it's because I do the Fred Schneider voice.
Are you good at it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't do it on air.
No, because I have to be really loud to do it.
That's fair. Please don't do that. For me, I have Kill Switch moving on.
In the final?
Yeah, his voice is just like good gravy. Like it just booms. It's incredible. Yeah.
I have El Nino.
Okay.
And then the other side, we both have Mushroom Head and Seven Dust. I've got the Seven Dust song.
I got Mushroom Head moving on. I just can't. It's that rap rock, like. Yeah, I can't help it.
So you have Kill Switch versus Mushroom Head, and I have El Nino versus Seven Dust. This is my favorite bracket we've ever done.
It's so sweet. My big winner, drum roll, is Mushroom Head. It's my favorite song on the album. It is. I listen to this thing so often. I'm sure my parents and brother were probably like, turn it the fuck off. But like, I love the screaming. I love the weird rapping that like kind of like ties in with the screaming. I was never a big Mushroom Head guy. Like, I bought the album and like listened to like 3 or 4 songs, like on like a 12-song album, and like those 3 or 4 songs, and that was about it. So I was never a big Mushroom Head guy, but this song kind of rules. Like, yeah. I mean, the guy is, look into my face. I don't know what he says. I used to know all the lyrics, but yeah.
I actually have El Nino.
Nice, good. That's the most iconic song from the soundtrack.
It's the song I associate.
This is the soundtrack.
Like how to me, it's the Dream Warriors of the soundtrack.
It is,
like
100%.
It's the song that goes with the soundtrack. And actually, I really like the song. It's the one that pops up the most on like actual playlists I put together. So that is my winner. But man, so I'm gonna ask you this before we get out of here. Is this your? So what are the soundtracks from like our like 2000s?
My gosh,
Resident Evil?
I have 3. So it's this one for sure. This one, Resident Evil, the first soundtrack. And the nice thing about that soundtrack was it was one of the first soundtracks I ever bought that had not just the soundtrack, like the bands, so Slipknot and all the bands, but it also had actual like score. And I remember like thinking like, oh, that's really cool that they were like, that was my first. It sounds silly, but like that was my first like realization like you could release like score, like on a CD, like film score, because that Marilyn Manson score is pretty damn good actually. Like it's heavy. And then Scream 3. Those for me, that's the top 3. Like that's the trilogy of soundtracks,
like
for me.
Horror soundtrack from the 2000s.
Those are the top.
Yeah. I there's one I'm thinking of, but I think the one I'm thinking of is Spawn, and that doesn't count.
The
Spawn soundtrack.
That's a good one.
Yeah, the Spawn soundtrack because it has like the fun rap rock mashups.
There's more hip hop on that one, right?
Yeah, it's like there's like some mashups. Yep. So I still have the CD in my car. It is in my booklet.
It's in my garage right now.
Can I tell you how old I am? I recently, I've decided to I'm so annoyed with my subscription things for like everything going up. My YouTube music. I love YouTube music. The sound quality.
I should get that.
Don't. Well, I mean, do, but YouTube music. I love it plays the videos for you, but it's like $20 now. YouTube music is $15. Premium.
That's still too much.
And I'm like $20. I can walk down to what's the record store in town? Flipside. I can buy like 4 or 5 CDs.
Just play CDs.
So I went on Amazon. I had an Amazon gift card. I bought a CD player for my office. I'm just gonna go back to CDs. I'm so annoyed.
Yeah.
And then I'll use like the free Spotify to like discover new music.
Exactly.
But I'm sitting there thinking like, what am I doing? Like paying like $20 for when I'm just gonna listen to the same 10 albums.
CDs. Yeah.
CDs.
That's awesome.
CDs, vinyls. Yeah.
Physical media.
I'm so annoyed.
People are about to slip. We've been sleeping on that for far too long. Like,
yeah.
I'm not mad. I kept all those Blu-rays and DVDs.
And here's the thing: is like half of the music service sound like crap.
They do. They sound bad.
CDs sound great. Vinyl
sound way better.
Yeah.
But CDs sound way better than. Yeah.
Anyway, so there's me.
Old man rant. Luckily, you're with a fellow old man, so we're good.
Yeah, so I will be in my office. I'll be cranking the Freddy vs. Jason soundtrack.
Look into my face, I can sing with that. I can't. Yeah, I don't know the lyrics, but
we have a Tiny Terror that we just put out where Willie talks about going to a couple of
my horror experiences lately.
Yeah, going to Motor City Nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
His daughter meeting Barbara Crampton, who is a delight.
A gem of a human being.
Going family trip with his dad to a couple of horror stores in the area.
Yes.
We also talk about old William Friedkin, director of The Exorcist.
Another gent.
I think you would have loved the way we eulogized him, which was like, I think I started by going, how'd this guy not get canceled?
He'd like that.
Yeah, I think he'd get a kick out of it. And then next
week... If he didn't, then fuck him.
Yeah.
Because he'd like that too. Yep. I would normally not say that about somebody who just departed recently, but Freakin' would appreciate that.
You would. Yeah. You would. And then next episode, we'll be back with Haunt.
Yes.
So, very cool. We had fun. I hope you did as well.
I definitely did. Yes. El Nino for life.